आणि
हो,
तुला
व्हेरी
वाटलं
गुड.
तर आपण नंतर हे कुठं पोस्टही करू शकतो. हा तू
ठीक आहे.
आता आमची
अ,
अडचण काय होते, म्हणजे
हो.
पर्टिक्युलरली माझी काय अडचण होते की म्हणजे मी वाचतो आणि त्याचं मिनिंग वगैरे ट्रान्सलेशन वगैरे वाचतो मी, कारण मला संस्कृतचं काही बॅकग्राऊंड नाही आहे. सो आय डोंट हॅव एनी बॅकग्राऊंड इन संस्कृत. So I read the translations and whatever is available commentary on online and try to read. Now this is second year I am reading, but I could not complete the Gita. I understand it is not an easy text to read, but are there any tips, techniques to read, or does it really take such long to really read it? Is the question.
Yes. When earlier you mentioned me about the topic, whatever point came to my mind, I just will enumerate that. Before we begin, I think so. I will just chant the uh, Dhyana Shloka mantra of Gita because we are discussing Gita.
Hmm.
Gita Dhyana Shloka is like this. ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्. And today being Swami Vivekananda's birthday, I will also chant the Dhyan mantra of Swami Vivekananda. Om Namah Shri Yatirajaaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhad Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. So, as Santosh mentioned, he doesn't know Sanskrit. That is the case with most of the modern age readers of Gita, that we are not aware of Sanskrit. The best way to study Gita would obviously be those who know Sanskrit well. They can read Gita original verses in Sanskrit, and if possible, Shankaracharya's Bhashya, which is in Sanskrit. That would be the best way. But let us assume that in modern times we don't know Sanskrit that well. Most of even spiritual aspirants and monks also do not know Sanskrit well. So we have to resort to translations. Translations, Gita translations are available from uh, ancient times to modern times, uh, especially in Marathi, Jnaneshwari, the commentary on Gita by Sant Jnaneshwar. That is beautiful Marathi translation, which was in ancient Marathi, but its recent translations are also available. And coming to our times, Gita Rahasya by Lokmanya Tilak, and even to modern times, Swami Ranganathananji Maharaj's commentary on Bhagavad Gita, the universal message of Bhagavad Gita in 3 volumes, and of course Swami Chinmayananda's commentary on Gita. These are the translations through which we have to go and understand Gita. Another point just comes to my mind is what my Gurudev, Pujyapad Ranganathanji Maharaj used to say about Gita is the attitude of Indians, especially towards Gita and the Indian scriptures, was that of these are holy texts, to be worshipped. So he used to give an example. Suppose you have a glass of milk. Now, if you drink that glass of milk, it is going to nourish your body. It's going to help you. But if you just put that glass of milk in your worship room on your altar and put some flowers and agarbatti incense, if you wave around it, that glass of milk is of no use to you. So similar is the case with the scriptures or Gita especially. Gita is not just to be worshipped or it is not for some mental peace. It is supposed to help us in each and every activity of our life, whether it is a family activity or a professional activity. In throughout our life, the teaching of the Gita has to be applied. That is the main point. Another point that is important is Gita mentions the various paths to God realization or self realization, including the four main paths described by Swami Vivekananda: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raj Yoga. So, depending on our temperament, we generally try to see the meaning into Gita, which is according to our inclination. Some it is about karma. Some say yoga. Some say about it is more about jnana yoga. But actually, it is a collection of all these ideas, and it is all the wisdom of Upanishads, so to speak, is been put into one collection in Gita. So when we approach Gita, first of all, we should note that we are studying something which has to be applied to our life. So it is very important. It is going to help us in our day-to-day life, in our professional life, in our family life, in our relations with our relatives, in our relations with our co-workers. It is extremely important in all these aspects. So with this mind, we should study Gita. Secondly, since this vital importance of Gita, uh, it is applied to all aspects of our life, it should be studied in relaxed and focused mind. Sometimes our mind is distracted by various activities, and then we try to go through it. We can hardly concentrate on what we are reading. But it is better that when you start your daily Gita study uh, session, etc., before that, if you try to relax your mind, try to meditate if possible, and try to calm down your mind and focus it on the topic, that would be most helpful. Another point is that this there has to be a certain reverential attitude towards the divinity that is manifested through this text. So even if you don't believe in any personal god or any Krishna or any particular Hinduism, but still if you believe in some sort of divinity, there is a attitude of surrender. If that attitude is kept, and with that humility we approach the text, keeping in the mind that this is going to help me in my day-to-day life, in my relations, and it is going to spiritually evolve me, our interest is we will seriously put our mind into it and try to think how this teaching applies to me. So these are the some points which we should keep in our mind before approaching Gita. Another point that comes to my mind is I studied Gita with Shankaracharya Bhashya, and my Sanskrit being not that strong, I took the help of Hindi translations, Hindi commentary by various monks, and also Swami Ranganathanji Maharaj's English commentary. And going through Shankaracharya Bhashya and Jnaneshwari, it took me 8 years to complete 18 chapters. So then that is the point I want to make is that we don't have to put a schedule that within 6 months or within 1 year I will finish this.
Your sound is gone.
Whatever is your frequency, try to stick to it and go chapter by chapter. Some commentators say that Gita has to be divided into three sets of chapters: first six chapters, second six chapters, and third six chapters. They say that the first six chapters teach about the individual self, that is the uh, in the Vedic Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, you are that, the you aspect. The second six chapters talk about Tat, that is the cosmic aspect. And the last three chapters after most of the gist of Gita has been explained. In fact, all the key concepts and the ultimate truth has been already narrated in the second chapter. So Gita ends in first chapter is the theme of the Gita and the question. And second chapter is the answer. There, Gita is finished. So what is there after from chapter number 3 to 18? Because after second chapter, Arjuna asks question, and then Krishna understands that, oh, okay, whatever I explained in chapter two, he has not quite clearly grasped it, so I have to elaborate on it. So then it goes on taking different aspects, like in sixth chapter, it is the meditation aspect has been taken, and then the after 7 to 12 chapter, the cosmic aspect in which the glory of the all-pervading divine is mentioned. So these chapters, you can study first 6 chapters in one set and try to make a summary out of it, then and try to see that it is applied to you as a person. Then the next 6 chapters, when you study, you should understand that this is talking about the all-pervading God, that which controls the entire world and its power and its majesty and its individual person's devotion and surrender to that cosmic person. And the last 6 chapter, apart from describing the qualities and temperaments of various types of spiritual aspirants, it also says what is the connection between the individual soul and that cosmic entity. So these are some of the points that came to my mind. And another two, 3 points is that we see in modern times there is translation of Gita by famous organization ISKCON, Gita as it is. So many people having no particular philosophical or scriptural background uh, go for that Gita as it is. But if those who have been fortunate enough to go through Swami Vivekananda literature, they understand that we need not restrict the message of Gita to particular only a particular set of idea or particular narrow interpretation. So it is advisable that we go for the message that is been given by those teachers who accept the broadness of Gita, especially the translation by Ranganathanji Maharaj, the Universal Message of Bhagavad Gita in 3 volumes. That is the best book for the modern times. One more point that we should remember is that ultimately Gita is talking about your liberation from the transmigration cycle, your liberation from the attachment to body and mind. So it is a moksha shastra. Basically, it is a moksha shastra. It talks about your freedom, your absolute freedom, and secondary benefits of Gita, like how should Gita be applied to effective management? How should Gita be applied to, uh, say, student life? These aspects are there in Gita, and we can derive benefit from it. But the main teaching is the moksha shastra, and the any activity of life, if done through the method described in Gita, it will lead us to the higher and higher spiritual goals. One more aspect that we I would like to touch upon here is today being Swami Vivekananda's birthday. We would read a quote from Swami Vivekananda about Gita, which is related to the initial situation of Gita, wherein Krishna tells Arjuna that no, you don't have to give up the fight and go and become a monk. You have to fight this war because that is the right course. Whatever arguments that Arjuna gave, that no, I cannot kill my own relatives and this is not good. That that is rightly diagnosed by Krishna as the attachment and weakness of Arjuna and not the true spiritual path. So, putting this point across, Swami Vivekananda says, in reading the Bhagavad Gita, many of you, especially in Western countries, may have felt astonished at the second chapter, wherein Sri Krishna calls Arjuna a hypocrite and a coward because of his refusal to fight or offer resistance on account of his adversaries being his friends and relatives, making the plea that non resistance was the highest ideal of life. This is a great lesson for us all to learn that in all matters, the two extremes are alike. The extreme positive and the extreme negative are always similar. So, Swamiji is pointing out that not resisting the evil, not fighting for the battle of life is not acceptable. And he goes on to say, only those can renounce who have power to renounce. So, without that, if you do not resist, if you do not fight, that is not going to give you any merit. Then Swamiji continues, Arjuna became a coward at the sight of mighty array against him. His love, that is love in quotes, make him forget his duty and that is why Sri Krishna told him that he was a hypocrite. Thou talkest like a wise man, but thy actions betray thee to be a coward. Therefore, stand up and fight. So, these are some of the points that came to my mind regarding this topic. One more point is that even if you are studying Gita in a group, once you have completed your group session, you should sit yourself quietly alone and try to think what you have understood through it. It should be your own interpretation and your own understanding, and then try to put it on the on paper. So this helps after a few years when you go through your own notes, you'll understand that, oh, okay, this is what I have understood. I had understood at that point, and then as life moved on through many life experiences, I have understood a slightly a deeper meaning of this. So that is another point. I hope these points are helpful.
Anyone wants to ask something or have some questions? Please go ahead. I thought basically because today is an Swamiji Jayanti, we should start formally, and maybe once every 3 weeks or 4 weeks we should meet on one chapter. That's what was the idea. Mhm. Yeah, and Shupriya, any question? Yeah.
First of all, thank you, Santosh, for organizing this, and thank you, Swamiji, for your, sharing your in-depth knowledge with us. Your points were actually very helpful. How, like you segregated that Gita can be segregated into three major parts, like first six, then second six, and third six. That was a very helpful tip. Um, I just read Gita for the first time last year and I struggle to actually remember. So, how many iterations of Gita reading would you do you think would it take to have the concept totally in my mind?
Yeah, that's a good question. Remember that I mentioned at the end that you take notes of whatever you understood from particular chapter by chapter and
Hmm.
write it down. Then after a few years you revisit it. That is actually you should keep on reading Gita. Maybe like you finished in a few months or a year. Then after a couple of years you can again take up Gita, go chapter by chapter, compare the notes. Ultimately the message has to be assimilated in our own life, and that we should be judging our own minds whether they are being our mind has been able to derive the benefit that Krishna wants to teach us. That is, how do I react to the situation that occasionally come in my life, a family situation or the corporate situation, where I easily get to, I mean, I get irritated or I get frustrated or I get agitated or I feel like this is unbearable, this is nonsense. These kind of reactions that our mind throws, if you are studying Gita again and again and contemplating on it, then you should be able to detect that, oh, this has come up and this is not helpful to me and this is neither helpful to the situation. And then that reaction would should subside within you because you are able to observe it. So until unless you yourself detect in within you that, oh, my response to the situation have become now much more calmer and though the situation chaotic, I am not that perturbed. So this growth you yourself will know. And until that happens, whether it happens in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, Gita should be your constant companion.
Okay, thank you so much.
Vaibhav, Diksha, Udit, any points? Any questions?
Uh, just a sec.
Yeah, Udit, go ahead. You are on mute. Hmm.
Yeah, I was disconnecting from the other device actually. There's some problem, so yeah. Thank you, organizing this, and thank you, Anshupriya, for asking that question, and thank you, sir, for answering that question actually. But basically, what my struggle with the first reading of Gita last year was that even this 6 chapters seems very big actually, right? So how to break it down logically further? As in, is there a way that we can create a momentum, or say if we spend like say 1 or 2 hours per week, right? Reading Gita. Uh, is there is there a way that we can read it actually, in an year, and uh, can we logically break it down further, right? These 6 chapters. So
The
how to further break
if
this?
you Yeah, correct. Uh, in the first 6 chapters, you can break it
Mhm,
like this. First chapter is just the situation and the question. What is the
mhm,
problem and the question? So that
mhm,
is not that much difficult to get over with. Second chapter
mhm,
is the crux of it. So
mhm,
second chapter is going to take a lot of time, and it is going to you have to assimilate a lot of ideas and give more time to second chapter. Once
mhm.
you finish second chapter, then the third, fourth, and fifth chapter, they
Mhm.
are sort of, you have to go all these 3 chapters as one set within
Okay,
six. First, you can just immediately go over. The second is important. The third, fourth, fifth are related.
okay.
And sixth is slightly like, because the third, fourth is deal with the karma and karma sannyasa, something called karma sannyasa. Karma sannyasa
Mm,
means not the traditional sannyasa wearing the gero cloth and all. It means
mhm,
that the idea that we have that we are doing our actions, we are leading our life. We are
mhm,
the agent, we are performing the actions, and we are the people who are suffering. This idea is, according to Krishna, a wrong notion because it
mhm,
is the cosmic person who is acting through individual. So uh, that idea of karma sannyasa, wherein you act, but you know that you are not the real actor. Real actor is the
mhm,
Krishna or divine. That idea goes in ourself, and then we start to put that into our within ourselves, that actually through me only the divine person is acting.
mhm,
So my idea of being, I am responsible, the whole burden of my life is on me, and then that becomes a terrific situation. That
mhm,
slightly reduces because your surrender to the divinity increases. That aspect is karma
mhm,
sannyasa, that is three, third, fourth, and fifth. So
mhm,
second, once you go through second, then third, fourth, and fifth, and then
mhm,
sixth is a slightly different topic. It is a meditation. How you should,
mhm,
if you wish to sit for meditation, and what points are required in that meditation. So that way you
mhm.
can break the first six things,
Okay, sir.
first six chapters.
Okay. And similarly, as in that's a very good point, right? And that similarly we can break the remaining six segments, right?
Uh, yeah, remaining six, like the second six set, I said that it talks about the cosmic aspect of the divinity. The first
Mhm,
set would be the individual aspect,
mhm,
that is ourselves. But the
mhm,
second set is the collective, the whole. So
mhm,
therein also 11th and 12th chapter. 11th chapter especially you can take as like it is just praising the different aspects of divinity, like
mhm,
how divinity is expressed through hills, through rivers, and etc. And 12th chapter is basically a short one where devotional aspect is given.
mhm, mhm,
Then 13, 14, 15. 15th is a very important chapter. 13, 14 you
mhm.
can combine. 15th is a chapter which you should actually try to memorize completely.
Okay, okay.
15th chapter you should try to actually many of the ashramas, many of the sadhus, when they sit for taking their food, the 15th chapter recitation is mandatory. You have to
Okay.
recite the 15th chapter and then you have to take the food. So
Mhm,
you can also memorize 15th chapter, and it is
mhm,
its title is very good. It's very wonderful chapter 15. Then
Okay, sir.
16, 17, 18, it is uh, qualities like we have Sattva Rajatama,
Mhm.
inertia, activity, and calm, that is Sattva Rajatama. How these three things play in our life, how we are sometimes inert and lazy, and sometimes we are very active, hyperactive.
Mhm.
Your voice is breaking, I think.
Yes, it looks like. But I think, yeah, so the general idea is that there are a few chapters which we have to pay more attention. And, while we are creating summary, right, what we will do is we will really spend more time, but there are few chapters which we can go a little faster actually, because our goal is to complete every year one reading, right? That way we will refine, and we have to apply Gita as we read in our lives also, right? So,
Uh,
uh,
I'm sorry, actually, there is an internet issue, so it showed that I was out of meeting, and then I had to come in
yes.
again.
Uh, uh, yes, sir. So, you were saying about the 16th and 17th chapter, and then we lost you actually.
That is 18 chapter, 16, 17, 18, 18. These are about various qualities that we have, like Sattva, Rajatama, and
Mhm.
how our intellect, our mind, how our willpower is influenced by these three aspects: laziness, activity, and serenity. Sattva, Rajatama.
Mhm. Yes, sir. So, thanks for this. Uh, I think again, we lost his voice. Santosh, sir?
Yeah, I think he's not in in metro city. So I'm not sure what kind of internet he's using. So anyway,
The,
next time we'll try to
the,
fix this also. Yeah,
Yeah, but it is quite helpful actually, what
yeah.
he
Yes,
just mentioned, right?
actually, I was thinking if he could, at least give us some ideas or discuss with us chapter 2, 15, 16, 17, if not all. I mean, if he could
No,
tell us,
we'll schedule. No? We'll schedule again. Once we are also reading it,
yeah,
then I think we should read one chapter. Then we can go back to him with our doubts, questions, and he can.
right.
He will talk to us. No problem.
Hmm.
I mean, I understand he has little difficulty in using laptop today. He is connected from mobile, and plus his network connection is not good. So maybe
Okay,
next time we can schedule it better. And this time I asked him just 2 days ago, the day
okay,
before yesterday. So maybe
okay.
next time we can give him more notice, and we can send our questions maybe in advance. So no, he can prepare some. He has a very
Right.
nice website also where he had written a lot of notes.
Okay.
So
So where
so
is he
that also.
located currently?
Yeah, he's in Raman Maharshi Ashram, so Arunachaleshwar.
Okay,
He's basically from Nashik.
okay,
He was in college with me,
okay, okay.
and he had spent most of the life in studying about Vedanta only.
All right.
Hmm.
So it will be good to get his inputs, because we
Yeah.
study,
It will
but
be.
when
Yeah,
somebody
it will be good. We should
reaffirms
have.
the
I realized
concepts,
because we all are kind of no struggling to understand and read.
right?
So I thought someone who has done probably can help us better. Otherwise,
Yes.
yeah.
And that
Uh,
one-on-one always helps. Like I can listen to many podcasts, and there are so many YouTube,
um,
stuff also. But the one-on-one always helps.
yeah, and that will help actually because when someone writes in a podcast or an article, it is generally written for everyone, not
Right.
for
Mm.
specifically you or me. But if we ask the question to someone, then
Hmm.
the person who had studied it can probably respond with our context in mind.
Right.
So we'll,
And
we'll
these
start.
small things also matter. Like we never realize that the first 6 chapters are about you, and the second set of 6 chapters is about the
Yeah,
cosmic
yeah.
divinity.
Hmm.
I mean, we didn't differentiate or segregate them into such a pattern.
Yeah,
So all these things also help.
yeah. This it will help. It will help. So we'll schedule again. Let's start studying. Let's start reading. And maybe, as he said, that second chapter requires more time. Maybe probably we can
Time, yeah,
split it in 1 or 2 sessions, and we can take it up.
right.
It's good that we could meet today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chalo, see you.
I am also happy to meet you all and see the interest in Gita. I think so. Sometime back, when I was when WhatsApp group. I was part of this group.
You are still part of that group, but you are not participating at all in the group.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. चल ठीक ठीक I think we can stop because at my end also it's almost 11:10 at night. So
Sure, sure. Okay.
so,
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
and maybe we'll start reading. So Udit had prepared a nice plan, so we can stick to it. And maybe with the same, no, week daily 2 and maybe weekly uh, 14-15 shlokas, and at least over the week if we can do some write-up, share with each other, I think we can slowly run. For him, if it had taken such a long time to complete the Gita, and he was spending almost full time, so definitely it would take more time to us also. So there is no need to feel disheartened that in 1 year we couldn't really get to the bottom of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Chalo. So I'm stopping. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.